a place shrouded in mystery and intrigue. From alien autopsies in Hangar 18 to secret government projects, the rumors are as vast as the skies above. Join us as we delve into the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, tonight on Newsworthy. 2 words and 2 question marks.
He's alive! Have you checked the children? Get out!
You have scoured the podcast world and finally found us, Newsworthy with Steve and Jerry, where we delve into all things mysterious, macabre, or out of this world, and decide if they are truly newsworthy. 2 words and 2 question marks.
Why should you work with Ed Locke? A better question is, why wouldn't you work with him? He is proud to support an amazing lender, USA Mortgage.
When you work with them, you can expect a home financing experience that is free of hassles and headaches. They have complete control over your loan due to in-house operations such as processing, underwriting, closing, and funding.
USA Mortgage represents a lot of fantastic things, but they are especially thrilled to partner in several community outreach programs, including Habitat for Humanity, Home Sweet Home, Veterans Community Project, and many, many more. They love going to work every day, which means they love working for you. Ed wants to be your lender for life, so reach out to him today and get the journey started.
If you would like more information, please reach out to Ed Locke at area code 502-680-0953, NMLS 448908, USA Mortgage NMLS 227262. USA Mortgage is an equal housing lender. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions may apply. For licensing information, go to www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org.
Ed Locke. Jerry, how are you, man?
Doing great and getting better.
You know what's even better?
What is that? Our
To
guest?
my very
Our
right.
guest, our host, our co-host.
Yes, Brett has
Back.
returned.
Back from the dead.
No. Now, after you finally left for a while because you needed to, go produce more offspring,
No.
we finally gave you a break and didn't say, wasn't making up stories about back hair being braided or stuff. But
Although it is looking very nice right now.
Is it?
I just want you to know it. We're about to have some video. Maybe I'll show it off a little
Oh,
bit.
please don't.
Separated back here.
Please don't. So, Brett, tell the world what's going on in your life the last couple of weeks.
Just had my first girl, or my fourth girl.
4 girls. You were so outnumbered.
0 boys. I do have a boy cat. He's the only masculine energy I get in my life right now.
I
So.
understand you guys are not giving up. You're going to keep trying
No,
for another boy.
we're not planning on that, so we'll see.
I would say that your better half is all done.
I think we're both. I think I'm tired of trying for boys, and she's tired of having the kids. So.
Having what you actually give her.
Yeah. Now listen. If our 5th kid is watching this years down the road, we were planning for you the entire time. Just so you know that. We love you, and we wanted you the entire time. Don't worry.
Plan for you.
Well, hey, I can honestly speak to having a 5th kid well after, even though I couldn't have kids because of, we adopted Jay. But, yeah, we loved him too, or we wouldn't have adopted him. So,
How old is your oldest one, by the way?
We got 4, 2, 1, and newborn.
I think everyone now understands what you meant when you said a minute ago. I think we're both done for now.
Yeah, no, we got
imagine.
3 in diaper. Well, 2 in diapers, 1 in pull-ups. That's trying to potty train, but not doing a good job.
good
That's a
Lord.
Yeah,
You
so
and her and-
we went to. Oh man, we just talking about like prices of things. We went to Sam's Club. All we got was diapers, wipes, and we got some snacks for the kids. $500. So,
Wow.
yeah. So.
Hey, before we get into tonight's show, I want to give a couple of plugs to a couple of things. If you don't care, do you care?
No.
Cool. First of all, Brett and I are avid D&D players. Jerry's Lane, but I want to throw a shout out to the Knights of the D20. They're on Twitch, YouTube. They're just starting a new campaign. It's fantastic. I'm hooked. I can't wait. They've got 3 episodes uploaded so far, and they're going to start a new episode every Monday. Check them out, Knights of the D20. They will be awesome. Follow them, like them, do all that thing, make them algorithms go. Second thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to let Jerry talk a little bit about it, because we met at the Bigfoot Festival, Easton Hawk.
We did.
Of Easton Hawk Illustrations. Phenomenal fella. Phenomenal. Helped us out, do things that we didn't even realize we should be doing, to be honest. Saved our computer equipment with some trash bags during
Helped us hold the gazebo down during the storm. Left
Right.
his gazebo,
Right.
came over
to
next
help
door to
us.
hold
So
ours.
if you need an amazing picture of a cryptid of any variety, he's on Etsy, I know for sure. He's always at these festivals. Check him out. Prices are amazingly reasonable. The artwork is beyond words.
And don't take our word for it, so to interrupt.
Yeah, go look at
Yeah.
Etsy.
Etsy, look up Easton Hawk Art. We will also leave a link when we put this episode up. If you're in the Pittsburgh area this coming Saturday, 8/17, he's going to be at the Cryptid Bash. He will also be at the Mothman Festival, which is September 20th and 21st. What city is that in?
That's
West Virginia.
Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
I kept wanting to say Logan. I knew Logan was Bigfoot, Ohio.
Jerry's old.
Yes, I am. No doubt about that. But yes, this guy is an exceptional artist as well as an extremely
Good dude.
fellow.
Yeah, check him out, support him, let him do what he does best. So help him out there. Sorry, wanted to get those plugs in. Those are 2 great things. And so,
How's your all's week?
week was good, man. I'm having a great week.
I
Not
know
gonna
what
lie.
Brett's week was. Busy.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's been great. I get this, I've been looking forward to this podcast. I got
There you go.
2 celebrities sitting on either side of me. I was listening to you guys' last podcast, talking about the festival. I obviously saw the pictures on Facebook and everything, and I liked how the article pegged Steve as the energetic one, and you were kind of the voice of reason. And that's what it's like. What? I wonder what I bring to this.
You're
And
the
then
middle.
it struck me. I bring the average age below the
There you go.
senior citizen level.
There you go.
Ouch.
Thanks for reminding us, Brett. Thanks.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
This past week, I was watching some Olympics, and
Why?
dude, I mean,
I swear, if you steal my joke, I swear, if you steal my joke, this is exactly how my joke starts out. I'm just saying. After you get done with this, I'm immediately telling my joke because it's you literally just started exactly how I'm about to start
I
mine.
will admit, this is the lead up to my dad joke.
Gosh dang it.
I was thinking while watching some races, and you ask why. I mean, come on, it's Olympics. I know there's things about it that I don't like or agree with, and I'm able to tune those out and say, this is some world-class athletes that have trained
Sure.
their entire lives. So
Sure.
I can watch and admire that. But yeah, I was watching a race, and it brought up a question. Why is it you never, ever see a tomato win a race?
Why?
Because it can't catch up.
You didn't steal my joke.
Good. I'm glad.
I'm so glad because you've had months for this, Brett.
Listen.
If that were your joke, I would be so disappointed.
So I was watching the Olympics.
Oh, 2 of you.
Dude,
I was watching the Olympics the other day, and while I was watching, a tick out of nowhere just jumped right on my leg.
I'll be darned.
True
A
story.
tick. I hate
A tick.
ticks. Almost as bad as fleas.
Yeah, I hate both. So it actually got me thinking. The Eiffel Tower and ticks have something in common.
What's that?
They're both parasites.
Oh,
Oh, gosh.
Very good parasites as well. If you're in Paris, make sure you don't miss that site.
Oh my God!
Listen, I actually did have the tick jump on my leg. It wasn't during the Olympics because unlike you, I did not watch the Olympics. I did watch some weightlifting stuff, like just on clips on YouTube, but how the heck do ticks walk? Do they just jump everywhere? Like,
Maybe.
it literally, I saw it jump on my leg. And I've never seen that before. Usually it'll just, like, I'll see it crawling on my leg or my head or something like that, but never seen one jump on me before. But
Weird.
All right,
listen, it's all up to you.
We're waiting. Bated breath.
Well, I don't have a good dad joke. All I can say is while you guys, whoa, that was loud. While you guys were watching the Olympics, I was watching the Scientific Network.
Good for you.
And yeah, I try to learn things. But what I realized is that scientists got bored of watching the Earth turn after 24 hours, and they just called it a day.
I like that one.
I don't even have words for that.
Well, that's good because it was so much better than yours and your ketchup joke. Gosh,
I almost used a ketchup joke. It wasn't
Different one.
It was a different one, but it was a ketchup joke.
hey, I also just so you know, in 66 days, Steve will be cruising the Caribbean. Just so you know,
We've already started the countdown, I see.
countdown is on.
66 days,
Can't say I blame you at all.
3 hours,
on that.
27 minutes,
There you
3
go.
seconds.
Would you like to know the exact time? Because I can tell you.
That's fine.
So tonight we are going to be talking about one of my favorite places to actually visit. I used to live, but you guys maybe not even know that. I used to live 30 minutes from here.
I didn't know.
No, I did not know that.
So just outside of Dayton, Ohio, is the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. It's on, say, if you're looking at the map, it's on the right side. I lived on the left in West Alexandria, which is just on the other side of Dayton. And if you ever live anywhere in central Ohio, here's something that you need to understand. And I didn't know this when I first moved up there, being a country bumpkin, right? If today I want to go see my next door neighbor, I can walk across the street and see my next door neighbor, and I'm there in a minute and a half. Right. In Ohio, there's this time warp thing that happens. I don't care if you're going across the street, across the river, or across the town. Everything around Dayton takes 30 minutes to get there. And it's the strangest thing that I've ever done. I worked in, Jerry has told you guys forever that me and him both worked in retail. I worked at a retail store in New Lebanon, Ohio, or West Alexandria, Ohio. One of the two. I don't even remember. It's whatever. It's
somewhere in Ohio.
Yeah. It was 20 years ago at this point. Who the hell remembers 20 years ago? But the one thing that I will always remember is it took me 20 minutes to get from my house to work, and my house was literally 5 minutes from work. It was stupid. To get from my work to Wright-Pat was 30 minutes. And it was on the other side of Dayton.
Go figure.
It was crazy. So anyway, but Wright-Patterson has a special place in my heart, mainly because when I was a Cub Scout, this was the first place that I ever went.
Oh, wow.
The very first place out, that we went on a trip to. I'd never been anywhere up until that point. And to see all the airplanes in the museum, and then they allowed us when we were there, and I don't know if you can do this as the general public or not, but they allowed us to eat in the, with the food lines, whatever the food court. It was just so cool. It was so massive. There was no way we could get through it all. I didn't see any aliens, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't a lot of areas that were not for the general public.
Right, yeah.
And you saw lots of those doors.
Air Force Base.
Huh?
It is an Air Force
It
Base.
is, right. So, I mean, it is an active, place.
Research facilities.
Yeah.
They're working on the most up-to-date tech.
So, I know Jerry's going to get into a bunch of history. And Brett's got some cool stuff. I'm going to kind of interject a little bit here and there, but if you think Area 51's cool, you have to think Wright-Patterson is the bee's knees, if you will. Jerry, tell us a little bit about how Wright-Patterson came to be.
Well, let's start with the name. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the Wright part of it came, believe it or not, from the Wright brothers. Their first original practice area wasn't an airstrip because when they were beginning, there was no such thing as airplanes. So without airplanes, you don't need
An airport.
or airports or any of that. But there was an 84-acre field called the Huffman Prairie where they first started. And even before the flight at Kitty Hawk, they were practicing here and later on as well. And that came to be known as Wright Field. Now, there was an adjoining field later on after airplanes were a thing. And we did have airfields. And it was called the Patterson Field in honor of Lieutenant Frank Patterson, who had long championed the base. And he worked to make sure that the whole thing stayed in the heart of Dayton. Yes, Steve.
I just want to let everybody know, I looked it up just so I would know. It was New Lebanon, Ohio is where I was. Thank you.
Still
Now we can all...
Left side, yes.
Left side.
You go out, you go to Dayton, take a left, you're there.
And if you want to know where the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is, northeast.
Go to Dayton, take a right.
Well, it's northeast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, but absolutely. It's almost in Dayton, not quite. But anyway, the other airfield was named after Lieutenant Patterson. In January of 1948, when Wright Field and Patterson Field were merged to form a base for the newly created United States Air Force, it was named the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Now, there are many conspiracy theories involving Wright-Pat Air Force Base, and Steve and Brett will be telling you about those. But as is the case with most of these theories, there is enough factual evidence to at least understand the basis of where these things started.
Absolutely.
Wright-Pat is no different. During World War II, the Air Force Institute of Technology and the Air Force Research Laboratory were headquartered at the base. Almost from the very beginning, the base was used as a testing field and for aviation experiments. As Steve was alluding to, anytime you have testing and research, it's not going to be open to the public. There are going to be many secret areas. In the case of airplanes, you're going to have them flying overhead. Do you have something to...
Well, I was going to say, Wright-Pat is also the ground zero for anything that we find that's not American that comes from the air. Satellites. Today, exactly.
And
so
has been since then.
if we capture a Russian jet that falls out of the air or a missile, it goes straight to Wright-Patterson.
Moon Dust, right?
Huh?
Project Moon Dust?
Project Moon Dust is where that started, correct.
Well, it goes back before that, I think. What time frame did that begin?
During the Cold War. So that would have been after.
They were doing this well.
Yeah,
that would have been after.
This was even like the beginnings before there were airplanes. Wright-Pat was the place that they sent anything.
1917, 1918.
Yeah, anything that we wanted to reverse engineer went to Wright-Pat.
And as you were saying, that hasn't changed.
That has not changed
today.
Jerry is destroying the
But still today, we capture technology from other places and we bring it to Wright-Pat to reverse engineer it. Absolutely. And during World War II, we talked about the Air Force Institute of Technology and Research Laboratory that they were used for aviation experiments even back then. This facility was used to create one of the very first labs that experimented with monkeys and apes for upper atmospheric testing. That was done at Wright-Pat. During the 60s, sonic booms were heard almost around the clock. They were testing the B-52 bombers, again at Wright-Pat. Both Neil Armstrong, the first man to set foot on the moon, Edward White, the first American to walk in space, both trained and were test pilots at Wright-Pat. Operation Paperclip was a secret United States intelligence program in which more than 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians were taken from former Nazi Germany to the United States for government employment after World War II. This happened between 45 and 59. Everything from rocket scientists, aerospace engineers, synthetic fuel scientists, chemists, physicists were brought to America. Many of the aerospace engineers were brought to Wright-Pat and to do exactly what Steve was talking about. We took the German planes, the Japanese planes, and tell us how it works, show us how you engineered it. And we knew at that time, in many ways, they were way ahead of us. Many of the scientists that we brought over in Operation Paperclip helped us begin to found our space program, and without it, we would have been way behind. Operation Blue Book was a code name for the systematic study of unidentified flying objects by the United States Air Force. It was started in March of '52 and was terminated in December of '69. So for 17 years, the UFO research was done at was done at Wright-Pat. UFO research was done at Wright-Pat. So, yeah, you're beginning to see why there might be legitimate origins for some of these conspiracy theories. We did UFO research there. We were reverse engineering aircraft from around the world.
Sounds like the perfect place to send an alien crash.
Whether it happened or not, you can certainly see for the people that believe that aliens were found alive. Some think they were alive, some think they were dead. But you can see why those people would say, well, this is where it went.
So maybe I might be getting a little bit ahead. Maybe I should ask this later. But when I was researching this, it kind of made me ask the question, well, so what about all the stories of Area 51 where Bob Lazar kind of talks about how he saw all of this stuff there? I mean, and I'm not saying that it couldn't.
Or was it?
Right. I'm not saying it couldn't have been in both Area 51 and Wright-Patterson, but it just got me thinking, like.
Well, here's how I would explain that, and I don't know that this is any more factual than anything else you could come up with, but this is the way I think about it. If in fact Wright-Pat is the place that we reverse engineer something and learn about it, perhaps Area 51 is the place where we put it back together.
To do what?
Try it out, fly it,
well,
figure it out,
yeah.
Test it.
And that sounds like, and you make a good point.
What better place to test something out in the middle of the desert?
Right, exactly.
I'm not going to argue with you. Sorry to interrupt, Brett, but that's the opposite of what Bob Lazar said.
Yeah, he said he was hired to reverse engineer.
He was hired specifically for that purpose, right?
And at some point, maybe, and I did some research, and I want to say the number is somewhere around 58 downed UFO crashes that the United States is purportedly to have recovered. 58. At some point, maybe it got too, what's the word I'm looking for? Too dangerous to ship these across the country. Too many cell phones, too many video cameras, too much stuff and maybe those are the ones Bob Lazar was working on. I don't know. I'm speculating.
Right, and I'm not bringing that question up to say that I disagree. I think Bob Lazar is a bunch of crap. Like, I agree. I think that Bob Lazar is telling the truth. Like, and we.
I absolutely believe Bob Lazar.
Yeah, but it got me thinking. It was like, I know you.
Terry's over here smirking at us.
It did get me thinking. It was like, which ones, they could both be true, but it does seem like, okay, they're taking it to Wright-Pat to reverse engineer. What was Bob Lazar doing over there? I don't know. It did get me thinking.
I agree.
But
well, and the one thing that Bob Lazar has always speculated, and that we just don't know yet, is that he wasn't even at Area 51. He was at S4,
right,
which was another separate entity, a part of Area 51, but not attached to Area 51.
No, it was in it. It was inside it.
No, it was off to the side in a mountain.
It's part of Area 51.
Right. Well, yeah, land-wise, I get it. But I'm saying he wasn't in a hangar that you see when you see satellite images of Area 51.
Area 51 was huge.
Right,
yeah.
Right. That's all I was getting at. Sorry.
A couple more things, I'll finish up the history. We talked about that there was enough factual evidence to begin to see where people could take a leap, and it actually doesn't take much of a leap to get to where the conspiracy theories start. And They absolutely did start. 1966, a UFO conspiracy book called Incident at Exeter had a one-sentence mention of the aliens being brought to Wright-Patterson. The book is about the incident at Exeter. You can tell that from the name. But it briefly mentioned this. That one sentence was enough for the 2 years later, the science fiction novel, The Fortech Conspiracy, and almost every conspiracy theory that you hear about Wright-Pat came subsequent to that, and a lot of it was derived in some form or another from the Fortech Conspiracy. But that gives you a brief idea of Wright-Pat, how it started, how it got its name, and hopefully a little bit of insight to some of the things that happened there that gave rise to the conspiracy theories. Brett, tell us about some of these theories.
All right. So, I guess I'm going to start with the most famous. This is kind of what started the whole UFO craze, Roswell, right? It's July 1947. I'm going to briefly go over it just for those who maybe new listeners. We did cover Roswell in, I think, multiple episodes at this point.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to learn more about Roswell, definitely go back and listen to those. But essentially, Roswell was the Roswell incident was a downed aircraft that was found on the ranch of Mac Brazel in Roswell, New Mexico. Brazel informed the authorities that he found this what looked like to be some sort of weather balloon type of aircraft. He informed the authorities. They contacted the Roswell Army Airfield. Days after, the press release claimed that the military had recovered a flying disc, which obviously set everyone, everybody went crazy over this headline. They then backtracked a few days later, saying that it was not a disc, but it was actually a weather balloon. Years later, I believe the year was 1994, the military admitted that it was not a weather balloon, but part of Project Mogul. So this is kind of like the history of Roswell, how it's evolved. Obviously, those who believe that something actually did happen here at Roswell you see that I'm one of those people. I think that Roswell was an actual UFO, alien, extraterrestrial crash. The military lied to us once. They could definitely lie to us again.
The military always lies to us.
Yeah,
and I'm speaking. I first of all, real quick, let me just shout out to Clay. He had a successful medical procedure. He's on the recovery. We're going to have him here in a couple of weeks. Go Clay! Send your prayers and thoughts to Clay. He needs the help as he heals, and we get him back on the show. But the government always lies to us. The government, for all intents and purposes, for their military and for everything that they present to us, are 20 years ahead of anything that we see currently.
And we want them to lie to us.
I
We want them to take our military secrets and to
no,
put
for
us
sure.
on the front
No,
page of
100%.
the New York Times.
No, 100%, yeah. But would it really hurt to be like?
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like,
We have talked many times, and you too, when you were
Yeah.
because you were on with us part of the Roswell
Yeah.
incident, was the government is largely responsible for a lot of the conspiracy theories because of, just like this case, they didn't tell the truth in the first place. And in a case where you didn't need to lie a little bit, it turns out in 1993 what they were saying was this was a program where they were trying to figure out how to get satellite balloons over China and Russia. Okay, you didn't need to tell that.
Should have just asked the Chinese.
But did they know
they're
back
pretty
in the 40s?
successful.
They know now. I don't know that they knew in the 40s, Steve. So yeah, I don't know that.
It's a freaking balloon. You blow it up, you let it go. It's not rocket science. We don't need the Germans to figure that out for us.
Well, apparently we thought we did because we were doing secret experiments in Roswell way back when. But anyway, yes. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no. So and
Jerry, always the skeptic.
we kind of see this.
Skeptic of what?
Of me being
I
sexy.
agree with Brett.
Anyways. Oh yeah, and we kind of see, and it's not just with the military. I mean, if the media lies to us, we are very hesitant to trust the media again. And we kind of see that recently in just all the craziness that's been going But anyways,
I'm glad you caught that, Brad.
I did. I was going to say it, but I didn't want to get political on the show, but it's fine. You know who I'm voting for. Palpatine Vader 2024. Anyways, so I think that one thing that was really interesting, so obviously we know what happened at Roswell, but there was a lot of eyewitnesses after Roswell, all up the way until 1997 was the most recent one that I saw. But basically saying that they had taken this wreckage found at Roswell and brought it to Wright Field at the time, and later became Wright-Patterson. So the first one I want to talk about is a guy named Oliver Henderson. He was a pilot. He said that he told his wife that he flew the plane that loaded the debris of the downed aircraft, along with several small alien bodies from Roswell to Wright Field. Another pilot that came out and claimed something very similar was a World War II pilot named Marion Black Mac Magruder. He claimed he told his children that he saw a living alien at Wright Field in 1947, and later told them it was a shameful thing that the military destroyed this creature by conducting tests on it. So he was a reputable pilot, told his children that he had seen the military do something terrible to, what was a living creature at one point. And this is what a lot of UFOologists believe this is one of the aliens that they recovered from Roswell. The biggest witness pertaining to Roswell is got to be June Crane. She is a former employee of Wright-Patterson during the Roswell era. She sat down with retired police detective James Clarkson in 1997. You can still hear this audio recording today. According to the documents supplied to Clarkson, she was a clerk typist. She was able to provide documentation that proved that she actually worked at Wright-Patterson, that she had this particular position. And because of this position, she had access to top secret information. One day, a lieutenant supplied her with a piece of unusual metal. So if you guys listened to our Roswell episode, you've heard of this metal before. Basically, what they described it as you would deform it, you would try and break it, tear it, and it would always return to its original shape. So in talking about this, I'm quoting her exactly, he threw it on my desk, and he says, "June, you're a good worker. Tear that thing apart. Break that up." And I took it, and I bent it, and I twisted it, and I laid it back down, and it got right back to the same shape. It had no weight. It was like a feather. I said, "Well, what is it?" He said, "A piece of a spaceship. I just came back from New Mexico, and I brought it with me." So, just from this first quote, this is very similar to other things that we've heard before 1997, right? So we'd heard eyewitnesses talk about this material that you could. I think even I think Bob Lazar talked about this material, if I'm not mistaken, in the 80s. So
most anyone associated with Roswell that has firsthand knowledge, this is the go-to.
Right, and it just adds to the claim. I feel with a lot of these stories that we do, especially when we're talking about eyewitnesses, we always say like, all right, what's their gain? And in the case of June Crane, she was 72 at the time. She actually died a year later, in 1998. It didn't seem like she had a lot to gain to reveal this information, other than just to get this secret that she's kept for all these years off her chest. So some more that she had talked about. According to Crane, her top secret clearance allowed her to witness high-level base information, including, she claims, classified files on UFO crash retrieval. I'm quoting her exactly. There are 3 times that I'm aware of. One was Roswell, and then there were 2 others. And the one where they brought the 2 men into Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and put them in an icebox. I didn't see it because no one was allowed to see it. He called them little green men. Then he described them as greenish blue. They were 4 foot tall, and they were dead, non-humans. So some of the other witnesses that I'm going to talk about, you can kind of see they're all like 4 to 5 feet tall. They're all this grayish, greenish, bluish color. And this actually lines up with Bob Lazar's account of like these child-like, these child-sized humanoids that he had glimpsed while walking through one of the areas of Area 51. So again, Crane had kept her silence for 45 years. So at the time that she worked with Wright-Pat, she signed a confidentiality agreement and was liable for a $10,000 fine. In 1997, she just changed her mind. She wasn't going to keep the secret anymore. She told Clarkson, the investigator, she said, I'm 72 years old. What are they going to do? Shoot me or put me in prison? I think I could handle either one. So this, honestly, in all the research that I've done on Wright-Pat, this was the big one that I was like, man, this, because you can literally listen to the audio. Again, she has nothing to gain from giving this information out.
Can I bring up one that I believe?
Yeah, for sure.
And if it's one of yours, I apologize. One of the people that I actually believe is an author. He's authored 5 different books on UFO retrieval. His name is Donald Schmidt. He was initially, like Jerry, very skeptical of the truth at Roswell in 1947, the crash. But after interviewing hundreds of eyewitnesses, he became convinced that the incident was genuine. It involved an extraterrestrial spacecraft. Eyewitnesses include Walter Halt, public affairs officer at the Roswell Army Field, who actually released the initial news report about it being a flying disc. Halt had posthumously, that's such a hard word to say, confessed that the United States Army Air Force had covered up the truth about the extraterrestrial craft. And pursuing the investigative trail further, Schmidt discovered that the crashed Roswell spacecraft was actually taken to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, formerly Wright Field, for secret reverse engineering products. There's that keyword there again, Jerry, because that's what they do there.
What's the keyword?
Reverse engineering it,
Oh, yeah.
trying to figure it out. He explains that how reverse engineering of a retrieved alien spacecraft has been a top priority for multiple military and corporate entities. Schmidt also worked closely with legendary UFO crash researcher Leonard Stringfield, who did more than probably any other research in interviewing the witnesses of the crashed UFOs. Today, Schmidt is even lobbying U.S. Congress to hold hearings on Roswell and other crash retrieval incidents. Again, almost 58 crash retrieval incidents that are, and I'm using air quotes, known, and reverse engineering facilities at Wright-Pat.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I mean, that's a guy that, he's interviewed hundreds of people. You wouldn't keep interviewing people if you were barking up a wrong tree, I don't think.
Yeah.
One of the best known books that he is the author of is one that I like and read maybe 100 pages of this week, is Inside the Real Area 51, The Secret History of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
So you were talking about how they kept primates at Wright-Patterson. And I was listening to this one guy, and he was saying that the keeping of primates would give them the equipment, the space to house aliens. They would have like if they had primates that were dead, they were trying to keep alive, or that they were dead and they were trying to preserve. They would have the freezer space.
Right. And all this is apparently in underground tunnels at Wright-Pat.
Yeah,
that's my understanding.
No, that's part of most of the underground tunnels are underground for Wright State University, not at the Air Force Base.
Just saying what I heard,
Okay.
what I saw in my research. That's all.
Show me where you saw it. I'll
I'm
show
not
you where I
going
saw
to show
mine.
you right now. We're on the air.
and then you got Hangar 18,
This is skeptical.
is where they're supposedly keeping the aircraft that they've recovered from some of
Which
these.
there is no Hangar 18. And there's never been a Hangar 18.
It's actually Area B, Building 23.
There you go.
Is that what it is?
Of which you can go online, and the Library of Congress has got pictures of it. You can see it from all different angles.
Yeah.
Just not inside, right?
Pardon?
Just not inside.
Of course not. And again, do you want to be able to see inside?
Listen, yes,
the
I do.
buildings? Hold on.
What?
If it is one of the top aeronautical engineering military sites in America, do you want the public to have access?
No, I don't.
Inside. Exactly, we don't.
And this is another thing too. Is you get really frustrated. I get frustrated with the government because I feel like they lie a lot.
They do.
But you make a really good point. If we are gaining a lot of tech, I'm an American. If we're gaining a lot of technology from reverse engineering this equipment, and our enemies don't know that we're getting it from this equipment, I don't want. Yeah, exactly. I do not want them to know. And
if we're getting all this equipment from reverse engineering alien ships, then
Are
our
they-
military budget should not be, what it is. We should have enough technology that we
We
can.
shouldn't need to outspend the next 19
Exactly.
nations in
what do
the
you-
world.
That's what I'm
the
saying.
rest of the world, the rest of the world,
I'm just saying.
Not one or two, but all of them combined.
literally
Let's
the
spend
rest
more
of the
than
world.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Steve. 100%.
I also think that if you bring in an alien ship to a building, Hangar 18 or Area B, Building 23, and as reported, you tear up the floor, you put the ship in the basement, and you reconcrete the floor, I don't guess seeing inside is going to make that much of a difference, because that's what they say happened at Building 23.
So they claim, according to, what's your guy's name?
Schmidt, I believe. Oh, no, this is actually by Robert Carr, 1974.
But in the one book that he wrote, he says that there are far, far more levels underground that you can see. He said there's publicly available pictures, which there are, and it shows 2, 3, 4, maybe 5-story buildings. And his point is there are far more levels underground that you can see than you can see in your
Yeah,
pictures.
I agree with that.
Like you said, why would they show that? Why would they? And I don't want them to. You're right. You're exactly right.
I'm at a point that, okay, I don't want them to show me that, but I want them to, I'm ready for disclosure.
Well, we get pissed, like we were saying earlier, not when they lie about the things they need to, it's when they do stupid cover-ups about crap that doesn't make sense. And we know that in many cases they do exactly that. That's when you're like, come on, do you ever tell the truth about anything?
When you have an astronaut, a Apollo 14 astronaut, and I quote, "Make no mistake, Roswell happened. Evidence points to the fact that Roswell was a real incident, and indeed an alien craft did crash, and that material was recovered from that crash site." Astronaut Dr. Edgar Mitchell spoke out in 1971, and again with the same story in 2009. The government knew about it and decided not to tell the public. A few insiders know the truth and are studying the bodies that have been discovered. That's a pretty damn credible source.
Well, I think I mentioned this in our Roswell episode, but my brother-in-law, his grandfather actually worked.
Right.
He was a Homeland Security engineer, and he told him right before he died that we're not alone. And he told him, he told him that he worked on Roswell. So yeah, I mean, again, it's all these eyewitnesses, and even if one of them is right? We have all these witnesses. If one of them is right, we have aliens at Wright-Patterson. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't have, not necessarily all of them have to be correct. All of them have to be telling the truth.
When we were talking about what happened at Roswell originally, there was a couple of witnesses that were simply, in the grand scheme of things, were people that, what's the word I'm looking for? Randomly came in contact. The guy that was working security at the door when they brought the bodies in happened to see an arm fall out. That guy didn't write a book.
Right.
that guy was
got no
probably
fame.
ridiculed.
Right.
He didn't get any fame. I can't even think of his name right now.
Well, and a lot of these people probably
that was
didn't
at
want
Wright-
their name to get out.
And that was at Wright-Pat when the bodies were delivered to be put on cold storage or to be whatever we decided to do to them at that point.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you help one if it lived. You don't know what the
Well, I think in that time too, and obviously I was not alive, so maybe Jerry can give me some more
No, Jerry was definitely.
But it in that time, it didn't seem like the belief in aliens was it was not popular, right? It was,
Right.
You were crazy if you believed in aliens. I remember even when I was in college, I was a part of this Christian group, and we had talked about, like, I think we had some conversation starters, and the conversation starter was literally, do you believe in aliens? And I was the only one in that entire room of like 60 people that said, yeah, I think aliens are real. And they completely, so anyways, that was in like 2017, 2018. So
Wow.
if that was going on then, I can't imagine what was happening in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s.
Well, we barely, okay, so I got to put myself in the mindset of someone who was raised in the 40s, 20s. There wasn't a lot of aircraft. I mean, to see an airplane was a big deal.
Right.
We take that stuff for granted, right, today. But, if you lived in, I don't know, freaking North Dakota, you didn't see airplanes all that much.
Right, yeah.
But.
Going along with what you were just talking about, Donald Smith, the guy that he was talking about earlier, in his book that I've read part of, the Inside the Real Area 51 Secret History of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, he tells in the book, early on in his research, his boss called him in to his office, and he walked in and he noticed that he had a perturbed look, and he said, I had a pretty good working relationship with him, but I knew enough about his temper to stay on the good side of it. And he said, I hear you're investigating, researching, starting to consider writing a book about UFOs. And he's like, yes. And his boss went off on him. How big of an idiot are you? How stupid are you? Yeah.
Right. You're going to ruin your
So
career.
it's not just, the people at your
Local diner and
Yes.
stuff.
it's even scientists. A lot of them have the same attitude.
So here's where the newest, and we covered this. We probably need to cover one more episode of it. But here's where, and I'm using big air quotes here, even if I could buy into the world is flat theory, which I don't pertain to that.
I thought we proved that a couple of weeks ago. The Earth is 71% water. All of this water is uncarbonated. Therefore, the world is technically flat.
Wow. Okay, well, at least that was better than your dad joke. You got some prop back.
What do you mean joke? That's all facts there.
Anywho,
We've proven it.
I'm a big believer that we did, in fact, go to the moon. And I'm a big believer that there's zero way in the universe as it is that we're alone. Why, Roswell? Why did that happen? Well, it happened because we were shooting off a bunch of nukes in that area, and they've always, every time that there's some sort of nuclear deal on the planet, there usually is some sort of alien activity around it because they're interested. They want to know, are we about to blow ourselves to pieces?
Well, I think we talked about this. If we have other species, extraterrestrials, visiting us, they would 100% have the power to just wipe us completely out.
Oh, yeah.
If they have the ability to travel between stars, no matter what star it is, I don't care if it's Alpha Centauri, which is like 4.26 light years away or something like that. If they have the power if they have the ability to do that, they can wipe us completely out.
Yeah.
So if they wanted to take us out, they definitely would have done it. And like you said, it seems like the sightings are very in line with just protecting us from our own self-destruction.
So, I forgot. Brain just shut down right there. Sorry. I apologize for that.
Too much ice cream for you. Brain freeze.
Oh, I wish. I'm a fat guy. I love ice cream. Bring it.
Who doesn't like ice cream?
Right?
True.
You brought up just in the universe that we can perceive. It's so unlike. I think I actually went through the statistics of like if our planet was the only planet in the whole universe that had life, it was. I mean, I can't remember how many zeros of a percent chance there was. It was like 36 zeros. Like that's how small a percentage of us being the only life in the universe.
So anyone that's interested in the numbers and anyone that's interested in how that works, I strongly recommend the book Chariots of the Gods by Eric Van Daniken. It goes into those numbers, and it takes very, very basic numbers, rounded up to make it easy, to make the math easy, to describe how remote it is likely that we are the only ones here on the universe. So, did you have more? Or are you about done? Because I was going to...
way more.
Huh?
I know, Brett. He's got way.
I do have more witnesses, but I mean, I could talk about them if you like. And so the other witnesses I have, they're not directly related to Roswell, and I can just talk a couple. But there was a guy who his name was Leonard Stringfield. He was a UFOologist. He was the director of civilian research, interplanetary flying objects. He had published a monthly newsletter called Orbit. We actually have a lot of eyewitness accounts from his publications. Almost all of them, unfortunately, were anonymous. And Stringfield, to the day he died, refused to give up any of his sources.
That was the one thing that really... most ufologists really don't partake in his... because he didn't give up anybody.
And
they don't hold a lot of clout.
Right. And because of that, yeah, you definitely have to take all of these with a grain of salt. But these are not related to specific Roswell, but they're just some witnesses. So the first one I want to talk about is a Navy pilot. He was identified only as PJ. Along with several others, he accidentally entered a restricted hangar. For a brief 30 seconds, he said he saw a disc-shaped object of metallic color, 15 feet wide and 8 feet deep.
Sounds very Bob Lazar-ish.
He said, "I cannot confirm anything other than it was there." They were then quickly removed from the hangar, and once outside, they had discussed knowing that the U.S. had flying saucers in service. So they didn't even relate this to aliens. They just said, "Oh, well, now the U.S. government has a flying saucer." Another one was an unnamed former naval intelligence officer. He claimed to be present when an alien bodies arrived in 1953. He said, "I saw the bodies at Wright-Patterson. I was in the right place at the right time when the crates arrived at night." So again, this is just another one, and it might be the same. Actually.
Yeah, that's the guy that I was talking about. I mean, he's not famous,
right? Yeah, I mean, he's unnamed former naval intelligence. Yeah. So another one, an anonymous Army officer claimed to witness another group of 4 alien bodies brought to Wright-Patterson in 1957. According to the general, 4 bodies were approximately 5 feet in height. Were sent to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. They were kept in a deep freeze moored, kept at approximately 120 degrees below zero for preservation. The last one I want to talk about is the one that I find the least credible, because I feel like he's gotten a little bit of fame from this, and I'm not saying he's made any money, but UFO investigator Ted Phillips claims to have been given access to photos that showed alien bodies. Again, not really sure how trustworthy he is, but he did describe the hands as having long, thin fingers with a membrane in between the fingers.
With 4 fingers.
Right, and this kind of lines up with some other eyewitness accounts, so that's the reason why I put this in here.
Did he release those photos?
He didn't have the photos. He was given access to the photos, and that's why I'm saying he's the least. He's the one that I was like, I'll just throw him in there because it seems like a lot of these other witnesses line up.
I'll take up for him a little bit, because he's not the only one that has said that is the membrane, and with the membrane, the 4 fingers, that is what most people who have seen or claim to have seen pictures or the bodies have said.
Right. And it seems like, again, a lot of these, almost all of these eyewitness accounts line up almost perfectly as very childlike. They're child-sized humanoids, big heads, large eyes. So anyways, yeah, I think that's really interesting.
So, right, Pat, here's the thing. If you're anywhere near Ohio and you want to take an awesome day and take your kids to see some amazing stuff, they're probably not going to let you in the basement where the aliens are. But you can But I mean, you can ask, but I doubt that they're going to let you. In 2023, the museum had its 100th anniversary. And since 1923, the museum has grown from a small engineering study to the world's largest military aviation museum. It has 350 different aerospace and missile exhibits, all the way from the Wright Flyer all the way up to the B-2 stealth bomber at this point. It's pretty dang amazing. And because it's a federal program, the museum is open every day, 9 to 5. It's only closed on Thanksgiving, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day. The admission, free. Parking, free. So make sure that you take your family and go see the national. Its official title is the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force, located at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, just outside of Dayton. You can get pictures. You can go to listen talks. It has interactive exhibits. It has a full-size replica of the shuttle that took our men to the moon. It is freaking amazing. So go check it out. If you're anywhere near Ohio, go check it out. It'd be well worth your time to spend some time there.
And that has nothing to do with whether or not you believe in aliens.
No,
right? Yeah. That museum alone is well worth visiting. Pat.
Absolutely.
Just for the museum alone.
From where we are right now, it's only 2.5 hours. Yeah, so it's really a good day. You should, when the girls get a little older, they'd have a fun time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's an interesting episode, but our journey isn't over yet. If you stay tuned, we have an exciting bonus story coming up after this commercial break.
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. When it comes to buying a home, the process can be overwhelming and confusing. With so many options, it can be hard to know where to start. That's why it's important to work with a certified mortgage loan originator. I have the knowledge and expertise to guide you through the process and find the best mortgage option for you. I will work with you every step of the way to ensure that you are getting the best deal possible. So if you're looking to purchase or refinance, please reach out to me at 502-680-0953. So don't take on the stress of buying a home alone. Work with me and I will make your dream a reality. Trust the professionals and make your home buying experience a positive one. MLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, MLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is equal housing opportunity.
If you would like to share suggestions for future episodes, an intriguing ghost story, or simply tell us how much you love or hate us, please get in touch with us. You can reach us via email at newsworthywithstephencherry@gmail.com or send us a text at area code 540-709-1318.
And now, back to the story.
Well, Jerry, Brett, I wish we had an uplifting, upbeat story to share as the bonus story tonight, but we do not. After the SS Dumaru sank near Guam in October 16th of 1918, much of the crew drifted helplessly across the Atlantic in a lifeboat. However, it wasn't long before their provisions ran out and the men grew desperate. Though initial reports say they survived on dolphin meat, later accounts finally revealed the horrifying truth. One survivor recalled that the dying first engineer told his fellow sailors to eat him after he perished. Though initially nourishing, the meat quickly began making the men sick and crazy, and the idea was abandoned. Another account, however, soon told a far more disturbing story, alleging that a hatchet-wielding sailor had organized a mutiny and demanded they began eating the dead. And as the men came to believe that partaking in the flesh of their fallen mates was a fate not much worse than being eaten by sharks, in fact, some accounts say that several of the sailors, as they grew near death, threw themselves overboard because they'd rather let the sharks take them than be eaten by their comrades. Meanwhile, stories even emerged that the men consumed not only meat who were already dead, but pooled lots to see who would be killed and eaten next. You can check out the true grisly story behind the wreck of the SS Doomaroo by going to the website ssdoomaroo.com.
And Jerry, if you can't see the light,
Be the light.